Good morning. Happy Friday. How are you? Another expedition with your mediocre sports host. Coffee in hand. Today we are going to discuss a great American tragedy in the coaching ranks. It was many years in the making. So what the heck happened with Urban Meyer? My goodness. Just so happens I have some ideas. So for those of you that are not following sports headlines, Urban Meyer has been fired yesterday or overnight into Thursday, Wednesday night into Thursday. He had every chance. So he didn't get rooked here. So I have some ideas on what's happened here and where we should go from here. You've heard me opine on this channel before that, dictators are best in college. People who are autocratic, it's very rare that they succeed in the NFL, like a Tom Coughlin did. The NFL requires a CEO type of thing, and CEOs are likable. There's a likability factor. They have to be able to delegate well. Urban didn't. They have to be likable. He actually isn't. And they have to be political. And Urban wasn't. They also have to keep their nose clean. And Urban didn't. All the things that when you're leading a young team of millionaires, but young team, you lose the locker room in a hurry. So I'm not saying you need to be a player's coach. There needs to be a correct balancing. You have to be able to be the CEO, delegate, keep your nose clean, teach and inspire, keep it positive. You need some leadership in the team. You need to empower them. That is not the same as being a player's coach where they get anything they want. You have to inspire them. You had the track record to do it, but he didn't do it. Now, how come he ended up this way? Because he's such a successful college coach, right? Well, I think it was Colin Cowherd once, a couple of years ago, was saying that you ever notice the scandals are always in with the teams that are in the middle of nowhere, the small town colleges, rather than the big city places, the big city operations like a USC. You always see the scandals. You always see the really bad behavior when it finally comes out. It comes from a small town. There's a reason for that. Because you're always the king of a small place. Nobody ever says no to you. You are the crown prince. You bring in a large percentage of the revenue for the town. Nobody touches you. You could in some cases literally commit fairly heinous crimes to get away with it. Because the town has a vested interest in keeping you upright and statesmanlike, even when you might be a piece of dung. Bowling Green, where he started, yeah, middle of nowhere. Utah, may as well be another country. Florida, football's everything in the Deep South, right? And Jacksonville, Gainesville area, it's actually Gainesville, not Jacksonville. But the Gainesville, Florida area ain't so big either. And it's down in Football Alley. They consider their football stadiums to be churches. Now, I'm a God-fearing man. I'm not one of those people. But a lot of Southerners believe that their football stadiums are cathedrals. Ohio State's much the same way. Ohio State in Columbus is everything. Yeah, sure, they got a hockey team that is average, and they have an MLS team. But let's not kid ourselves. Most of the revenue from Columbus, from a sports perspective, is coming from the Ohio State Buckeyes. He has always been in positions where nobody told him no. He's always been the entitled one. Then he got to the NFL, where it's a little bit different. The glare of the spotlight is on you 24/7. You cannot do the things he has done. So the thing that undid him ended up being that he kicked the kicker while he was stretching. You ever hear the parable of the straw that broke the camel's back? The camel has all this stuff, this heavy stuff on it. And it's hard for the camel, but the camel's staying upright. But then you put that little piece of straw on at the end, and the camel collapses. Because it wasn't about the straw. It was about the whole load. And a whole load has a lot to do with what Urban Meyer is. And the more I've gotten to know him, looking at this debacle, I pray to God that this man never coaches again. I was a believer in him. The more that started coming out, this is not a very good dude. Not a good dude at all. And I'm ashamed of my support, quite frankly, because he made us all look bad that believed that he could do this. I thought he could. Now, when he was hired, there was a guy that I'm going to say again should have gotten the job. But once they hired Urban, I was like, okay. Horrible. And he's always been this. He didn't just become a diva. He always was. Small town football, particularly in the South and the Midwest, it ain't good. We gotta stop deifying our college coaches and our college athletes in these small towns. Hold them accountable. Because you're setting them up to fail in life. They go through life, they go through their early life thinking there's no accountability, and then we wonder why they flame out like shooting stars. Shooting stars burn out. That's a kamikaze mission. It's a 100% failure rate. So you've got to teach our young people by example and by force if necessary, by the force of personality necessarily, that there's things that are acceptable and there are things that are not. You're not to be a diva because you can't diva your way through life. You got to produce something. You got to do something. You got to be accountable for something. You got to stand for things. And it's a low down, dirty damn shame that this man got to this level and hadn't learned that yet. So, rest in peace with the football coaching career of Urban Meyer. I pray to God nobody is stupid enough to hire this man again. For anything. If I'm a network, no. He sits. He's got plenty of money. So now he's got more time to play around, to play with his Playboy lifestyle. Play footsie with whatever he wants to do. That's fine. I don't judge the relation, the extramarital stuff. That's stuff that happened to people. You don't know what's in their you don't walk a mile in their moccasins. You don't know what's going on in their home life. I don't even get into that. It's the things he did to people in the facility at the games, the fact that he didn't know anything that was going on, and if something was a mistake, he pretended like it was something he didn't know about. Complete lack of accountability. And just zero shame in it. So, rest in peace. Call it a career, dude. Anybody hires him, they're an idiot. All right, so there's a void in Jacksonville. They still are, rumor has it, an NFL franchise. So Shad Khan has himself a problem. He has what is even more a mess now than was before Urban Meyer took over. This is a tough turnaround. And the instant reaction is, I'm going to go get the hottest offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. Yay, formula. Go team. Wrong. No. This is a reclamation project of reclamation projects. This is going to be a turnaround, like almost on the par of trying to turn around the Jets. By the way, Bob Saleh is a good football man. He ain't gonna be up to it. Turning around the Jets. If somebody's able to do it, that's the thing that unicorns are made of. Okay? This is a horrifically difficult situation to turn around. And Jacksonville is on that par now. So here's a couple things you're going to need as prerequisites. Not as nice-to-haves, but prerequisites. Without it, you have a snowball's chance in Hades. Snowball's chance in Hades. Snowballs last minutes, not hours or days or years in Hades. Apt comparison. Experience. You're going to need somebody that's been in that chair. He's been a head coach. He knows how to handle the media. He knows how to handle players. He knows how to get after them when he needs to. He knows how to not coddle, but to lift them up, to build the confidence when he needs to. He knows how to deal with the human element of the job. Number two thing you're going to need, because it's not a PowerPoint that you're hiring. These guys are all PowerPoint princesses, okay, that haven't had a head coach job. You're not hiring a PowerPoint. You got problems now. This isn't an average job. It's not an average job. Past results are going to matter. This is a guy that has to have won before in difficult places. We got a real short list now. See, that really huge list just got really teeny tiny. But these are non-negotiables. You don't do these two things, fail. Fail. I don't care how good his PowerPoint is. I don't care how good the team around him is. You don't get these two things from the top dog, you're done. Dead man walking day one. Learn, Mr. Khan. Learn. I'm going to tell you a story about two people, because that's the length of the list. Everybody else is a PowerPoint walking around, disguised as the guy you need. And there's a clear number one, there's a clear number two, and then there's a clear everyone else. You don't hire one of these two, you're a complete buffoon. Not interview, hire. Number one is a certain Mr. Jim Caldwell. Some of you guys might be able to go back to my video at one point before they hired Urban Meyer and remember that this handsome prognosticator said something about a Mr. Jim Caldwell being the next coach. Bundy. Tough turnarounds. Yeah. He got the Colt. He put the Colts right up at the upper echelons of the league. He had a really good quarterback, but that team wasn't real good when he got it. He had one bad season when Manning got hurt. They went 2-14. They fired him. There were other injuries also. He had enough cred in the years prior. They should have let it. They should have given him another year, but they fired him. They ain't been real good since. Then he goes to Detroit. This is the place where careers go to end. So much so that credible coaches won't go there anymore. He has a 4-year run. 2 of those years in the playoffs. Worst of the 4 years was a 7-9 record. Yeah, I know. Detroit. Playoffs? Detroit? Yeah, he did. Those are 2 programs he turned around, brought to prominence. PDQ. That's a little Spanish lingo for pretty damn quick. Hire him. Now. Now. Period. He wants back in the game. You back up the Brinks truck and you bring that man in. You give him whatever authority he wants and you get out of his way. You do it now. Or sell the team. Because you're an idiot. Now I'll allow for number 2. So let's go into him. You guys know I love the Andy Reid tree. Love me the Andy Reid tree. Well, old Dr. Seuss on you right there. We do not edit. Mr. Doug Peterson got ran out of Philadelphia, even though he brought them a Lombardi with a backup quarterback, who, by the way, hasn't been very good ever since. That backup quarterback's still pinging around the league like a pinball, and he hasn't replicated that success. Maybe Dougie football's pretty good. Right? Yeah. He's got the temperament. He knows offense very, very well. You have a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence who needs mentored. There's damage that has been done. Now remember that Urban Meyer was the one that refused to fix Tim Tebow's throwing motion and basically destroyed any chances of him being a credible quarterback in the NFL. Because he refused to fix his motion. See, Urban Meyer didn't coach, he posed. Peterson is an offensive genius who was birthed by an offensive genius in Andy Reid. So Doug Peterson would be an excellent hire. The only reason he would not be the number 1 is Caldwell. When Caldwell gets the next job, and it should be the Jacksonville job, it has his name written all over it. Peterson should be at the top of every single list after that. Now, both of these gentlemen want back in the game. They want back at the head coaching table. They both deserve it. They've both been very successful. Caldwell, however, was the one that did the turnaround. 2 turnarounds. He's kind of like the Buck Showalter of the NFL. Okay? Brings him right to the precipice. He can win the big game. He doesn't choke. Long as the injuries don't happen, long as the As long as management doesn't sour and get impatient. And he doesn't do 5 and 6 and 7 year turnarounds. He fixes them in a couple. He would have Jacksonville in the playoffs in another couple of years. The talent's there. ETN's pretty good. Trevor Lawrence is a very good quarterback. But you bring in Caldwell and you allow him to shop for his own groceries. You let him give him some. GMs need to GM and coaches need to coach. I still believe in that, but that GM needs to be consulting with Caldwell. What do you need? Kind of like Meyer does in Las Vegas. But then GM makes the decisions. Caldwell also needs to be able to hire his staff. Give him the budget he needs. Give him the authority he needs. Get behind him. And then get out of his way. And he will win you some games. He will win you a lot of games. Urban probably would have won his third game this weekend. Going against the Houston Texans. I can tell you right now with this exact same team, Jim Caldwell would have won at least 6 or 7 or 8. At least. And that's without getting his hooks into him for a full season. Full off season or whatnot. He could have taken over on opening day and gotten near a 500 record. I don't deify coaches, but cred's cred. The man's good. So hire him. And if for whatever reason Jim says no, you need to get Doug Peterson in there. But you want to hire these guys, either of these guys, here's what you do. Repeat after me. I am not a meddling owner. I will get out of your way. You will have whatever you need. There will be zeros behind the number on this check. What do you want? Repeat after me. It says right there. That's all you have to say. Go for it. That's all you got to do. Bring them in. Simple as that. So this is a great American tragedy, but it's playing out in small towns all over the United States. And it's sad. But there are a lot of these situations all over the country where these small town people are looking the other way when these guys become monsters. They get away with everything. They get coddled. And it's with the athletes too. Your 5-star athletes. So many of them are coddled and pampered, never told no. And then we wonder why they get themselves into trouble where they have horrible personality traits. It's time for some changes in that. I don't think we should be coddling people. I really don't. We got to start teaching these kids what yes and no. We need to start teaching these kids about life. I pride myself in my coaching, and I don't coach at that level, obviously, but I pride myself on coaching life lessons. I teach perseverance. I teach accountability. I teach team. Above all other things. If I can do it, they can do it. And if the guy that you've got at your institution won't do that, find someone that will. One brick at a time, maybe we can bring some honor back to this profession that is just hemorrhaging because of people like Urban Meyer. I'll be back on Monday. Hope you have a great weekend. And we'll see what the weekend comes. There's a lot of in the NFL. Probably cover that on Monday. There's a lot of problems in both football of the American kind and the British kind. Premier League has shut down half of its weekend games already at five of their 10 in this round of games. They're having a lot of problems over there, and it's going to come here soon. Probably about a month and a half behind what they're doing in the UK. So, one more reason why you need to have grown-ups running football teams and baseball teams and soccer teams and everything else. If it says anything before team, you need a leader. Now more than ever. So I'll be back on Monday to opine on some of that stuff. But between now and then, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the ringy-dingy, say all, and then spread this video far and wide. More sharing is more caring, and I need all the caring that I can get. I will holler at you on Monday. You have yourself a fantastical kind of weekend, whether that's a word or not. I do not care. Peace out, me homies. See ya.